Good afternoon, children. Well, it's been a bit of a rainy day today, hasn't it? So anyway, here I am going through your dressing up box again, and I found this lovely scarf and a nice crown. So I thought that I would wear them today. Hope you can see me okay. I look a bit blurry, but it might be my glasses. Ooh. Anyway, here we go. And we're going to have a My Naughty Little Sister today, and I've got my special guests. Right, come on, wake up, you two. Half asleep they were. Right, and I think that we'll have the brown dolly as our guest today. Here she is. Hello, I think we'll call her Jemima. There, Jemima, that's a nice name, isn't it? There we are. Lovely. Pull your skirt down, love. Right, okay. Off we go. Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. The Wiggly Tooth. Now I thought we'd have the Wiggly Tooth because yesterday, or the last time I did a story, we had Horrid Henry and his way of tricking the Tooth Fairy, and that wasn't very nice. And this is a much nicer story about a Wiggly Tooth and my naughty little sister. I don't know what her name was, my naughty little sister. Anyway, here we go. Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. When I was a little girl and my naughty little sister was a very little girl, we used to have an apple tree in our garden, and sometimes my naughty little sister used to pick the apples and eat them. It was a very easy thing to do because the branches were so low. So my mother told us we were not to pick the apples. My mother said, "It is naughty to pick the apples when they are growing upon the tree, because we want them to go on growing until they are ripe and rosy. And then we shall pick them and put them quite away for the winter time. If you want an apple," my mother said, "you must pick up a windfall and bring it to me, and I will wash it for you." Now I know that some of you have got apple trees in your garden. Some of you have got a fig tree hanging over the fence. One of you has got a beautiful pear tree. And I don't know if people have got raspberries or blackberries, but you've all been doing some planting, so I hear. Anyway, so we'll all be very happy, won't we, when they all come through, and we'll have carrots and cabbage and apples and all sorts, and we can make apple pies. Anyway, here we go. As you know, windfalls are apples that fall off the tree onto the grass. So one day, my little sister looked under the tree and found a nice big windfall on the grass, and she took it in for my mother to wash. When my mother had washed the apple and cut out the specky bit where the little maggot had gone to live, my little sister sat down on the step to eat her big apple. She opened her mouth very wide because it was such a big apple, and she took a big bite, and what do you think happened? She felt a funny, cracky sort of feeling in her mouth. My naughty little sister was so surprised that she nearly tumbled off the step when she felt the funny, cracky feeling in her mouth, and she put in her finger to see what the crackiness was, and she found that one of her nice little teeth was loose. So my naughty little sister ran indoors to my mother, and she said, "Oh dear, my tooth has gone all loose and wiggly. What shall I do?" In a waily, whiny voice, because at first she didn't like it very much. My mother said, "There's nothing to worry about. All your nice baby teeth will come out one by one to make room for your big grown-up teeth. And I think that's happened to nearly all of you, perhaps not Sylvia and Miles, but I think everybody else has had a wobbly tooth. I don't know about Florence yet. Have you had a wobbly tooth, Florence? Maybe you've got one now. Who knows? But I know that the others have. Anyway, have a look, said my naughty little sister. So my mother had a look, and then she said, "It's just as I thought. There is a new little tooth peeping through already." So after that, my little sister had a loose tooth, and she used to wiggle it and wiggle it with her finger. She used to wiggle it so much that the tooth got looser and looser. When the nice baker came, my naughty little sister showed him the tooth, and she showed the milkman and the window cleaner man, and sometimes she used to climb up to the mirror and wiggle it hard to show herself, because she thought that a loose tooth was a very special thing to have. Now, there's not many pictures in this story, but there is one of the little sister showing, I think that's the baker man, or the window cleaner, because he's got a bucket, hasn't he? Her wiggly tooth. After a while, my mother said, "Your tooth is very loose. You had better let me take it out for you." But my naughty little sister didn't want to lose her lovely tooth, because she liked wiggling it so much, and she wouldn't let my mother take it out at all. Then my mother said, "Well, pull it out yourself then." And my silly little sister said, "No, I like it like this." The next time the window cleaner man came, he said, "Isn't that toothy peg out yet?" And my naughty little sister said, "No, it's still here." And she opened her mouth very wide to show the window cleaner man that it was still there. The window cleaner man said, "Why don't you pull it out? It's hanging on a thread, or it is." My naughty little sister told him that she liked to have it to wiggle and to show people. So the window cleaner man said, "You better take it to show the dentist." My naughty little sister said, why should she take it to the dentist? Because she hadn't heard much about dentists, and the window cleaner man, who knew all about doctors and dentists and about how the sun moves and how pumpkins grow, told my naughty little sister all about dentists. Now, you know all about dentists, don't you? And they're very good at looking after your teeth and telling you how to brush them. Anyway, and he told my naughty little sister all about dentists, how they looked after people's teeth for them and made teeth for grown-up people who hadn't any of their own. Like me. I've got some false ones here. So you look after your teeth and then you won't have to have any false ones. The window cleaner man told my naughty little sister that his teeth were dentist teeth and they were much prettier than his old ones. And my naughty little sister said she was very interested, and she said she would like the dentist to see her wiggly tooth. So the next time my mother said, "What about that tooth now?" my naughty little sister said, "I want to go to the dentist." My mother said, "Goodness me, surely it's loose enough for you to pull it out yourself now." But my naughty little sister started to cry, "I want to go to the dentist. I want to go, I do," in a miserable voice like that. So my mother said, "Very well then, I want the dentist to see your teeth anyway, so we shall go as soon as he can see you." Well now, the dentist was a very nice man. He said he thought he'd really better see my naughty little sister's tooth straight away. When my mother and my little sister arrived at the dentist's, they had to wait in the waiting room with a lot of other people. My naughty little sister told all these other people about her wiggly tooth, and she showed it to them, and they all said what a lucky child she was to have such a wiggly tooth. And there she is, showing the people in the waiting room. Now, when Richard and Victoria and David and Louise were little, I used to take them to the dentist in Ayr. And in the dentist there, they had a big table covered in Lego bases and lots of Lego in the middle in a great big bucket. So they used to love going to the dentist. Even when we'd been, they used to say, "Can we go to the dentist today?" when they didn't have anything wrong. Weren't they lucky? When it was my naughty little sister's turn to see the dentist, she was very pleased. She sat on his big chair and let him have a look. The dentist said, "It's a very nice tooth, old lady," because that's the way they used to talk to children back then. Bit strange, but there you go. "I'm sorry you don't want it taken out." "I want it to wiggle with," said my silly little sister. Then my little sister asked all about making teeth and everything, and the dentist told her very nicely. "It's a pity you don't want to part with that tooth, though," he said, "because I should just like a tooth like that for my collection. I collect really nice teeth," the dentist said. My naughty little sister thought and thought, and she couldn't help seeing how very nice it would be to have a tooth in a real collection. So, do you know what she did? She put her hand up to her mouth, and as quick, and then she said, "Here you are," and there, right in the middle of her hand, was her little tooth. She'd pulled it out all her very self. There she is. And that's the end. So that was a lovely story, wasn't it? And I wonder whether the Tooth Fairy came to see her anyway because she was such a good girl that time. And maybe he left a sixpence. Maybe it was a lady fairy and she left a sixpence. But sixpence is what I used to get for my tooth when I put it under my pillow when I was little. But I expect you get a lot more now because sixpence wouldn't go very far, would it? All right then. There we go. Another day over. You want to say goodbye? Goodbye, Jemima. She's so nice, isn't she? Very nice. I like her little dress. It's a bit like that dolly in the night garden. What do you call her? She pulls a string and her dress goes whoop like that, doesn't it? And then she dances round. Can't think what her name is. Maybe one of you will know. Anyway, and there's Lamb Chop. Goodbye, Lamb Chop. Daisy Maisie, something like that. Anyway, okay, bye Rabbit, and I shall play you out. Not quite right yet. I will practice. Goodbye, children.